Hello and welcome. Yeah, welcome to all those on the Zoom and also joining us on the live stream or the recording. Welcome to my living room. Yeah, today's theme is how many people are we? So before we get into that, I'd love to just have a little check-in with those who are here on the Zoom. How are you in this moment? What is the internal weather in this moment? What are you bringing here today? And if you feel to type a word or a sentence into the chat, then you're very welcome, just to get a sense of what is here right now, so that we're not just flat images on a screen, but we are really live people out there here. How are you feeling right now? What's happening for you? Yeah. So, Dennis, well, we have two Dennises again, I think. Yes. So one Dennis says, feeling good, excited about the topic. Yeah. And John, curiosity, heat, tired. Oh, yes, it's also very hot here. Ruth, heat damaged and also quiet. Christina, softness. Yeah. Anyone else? Just give you another few seconds. Yeah. The other Dennis, a little tired. Yeah. Okay. Well, so let's start by just taking a few moments to feel into the body, how this body is feeling in this moment, or what is going on in the sensations and emotions. So we just sit back and close our eyes. Take a few deep breaths into the belly. And start to turn our attention to the inner world, whatever it is for you. Noticing how this body feels right now. Any aches or pains or tension. Experiences of expansion or contraction. Heavy or light, hot or cold. Or perhaps there are really subtle waves of energy or sensation passing through. And perhaps you notice some emotions, feelings. We're just acknowledge whatever is here. It's all welcome to be here. Maybe it's just a little flutter in the heart. Maybe there's some strong feeling. Maybe it's already changing. Maybe it's still here, the same thing. Maybe there's some thought commentary, some meaning or judgment put on whatever the sensation or feeling is here. We just notice that too. And as you notice whatever is going on for you in this experience right now, perhaps you also sense the stillness that is beyond all experience. And this isn't known or understood by the mind. This isn't necessarily a particular experience of stillness. I'm pointing to the background of all experience. Always still, no matter what. No matter what is happening in the experience of this body, mind. And this is the paradox of the absolute nature that we are and the relative human experience that we also are. We can again bring our attention to the sensation of sitting here on this seat. And any background sounds. I don't know if you can hear the sound of the wind here in the background. Or perhaps there are some sounds in your background that you hear. And then we can take a couple of those deep breaths into the belly. And with each one, settling more and more here, now, on this seat, in this moment. Bringing all of our attention here, now. And then when you're ready, we can open our eyes and come back to this screen. So today's theme is, how many people are you? Which is a strange question, right? We usually think of ourselves as me, one person. I am me. But if we are really honest and if we inquire into what's really going on in our daily experience, we may notice that we play out as many different kinds of people in certain circumstances. We may feel, for example, more confident, and we play out a very confident aspect of ourselves. Or in other circumstances, perhaps we feel more withdrawn or shy or insecure. And this is the version that we play out. And then there are different roles that we play in our lives. For example, the role that you play at work or with your family, if you're a parent or a child, or some other relationship. If you have different kinds of responsibility in different areas of your life, you might play out different roles in that way. And then we have the different characters or personalities, identities that we play as kind of defense mechanisms, protection mechanisms, conditioning patterns, whatever we call them. These identities come in to tell their story and to have their certain flavor, because they also come with a physical flavor or energy, a certain position that plays out in the body. And they are learnt behaviors based on our past, based on our upbringing, based on what we've experienced in our lives. We've learnt to deal with certain situations by becoming a certain person. For example, we might play the victim, and in playing the victim, that seems to, for whatever reason, serve us in particular circumstances. Perhaps it feels safer to play that identity rather than being a different kind of identity. Perhaps we play the carer identity, the one that is always taking care or taking responsibility or carrying some kind of burden on my shoulders. Yeah, and there are so many I can mention, all so many different kinds of identities that we play. And we play them, perhaps we know that we have certain kind of favorites, maybe a handful of favorite identities that we recognize, we know that are the ones that come in when we are feeling particularly threatened or perhaps uncomfortable or needing some kind of protection, or we feel a bit vulnerable or maybe uncertain. We don't know how to be in a certain circumstance or situation. And so one of these old favorites comes in to save the day, to protect, and to be someone. Because essentially, who we are is no one. Empty. There's no one here, right? If I look right now and I ask myself, who am I right now? And you can ask that same question yourself right now, not in general, not theoretically, not in general tomorrow, yesterday, but literally right now. Who are you? Well, when I don't refer to the thinking or any kind of story about me, then right now there's nothing. There's no answer to that question. And of course, the thinking can come with many answers. It can tell its story of me in time, my history, my remembered qualities, my preferences, my opinions, also about my body, my location, the fact that I'm in here looking out of these eyes, these kind of assumptions that the thinking makes about a me. But when I don't refer to that, to any of those thoughts, there's this empty space. No one. And yet, in our daily life, in our human life, so this question of who I am truly is, we recognize that on the absolute level. There's no one here. Always. Still nothing, empty. And on the human level, there seems to be this one here, this body. There seems to be a relative location. And in this moment, this one now is playing this role of the teacher speaking on this Zoom satsang. And perhaps you are playing some role of the listener, or perhaps there are other roles playing out there. And maybe you might notice that there are other identities here. Perhaps there's the one that thinks you don't know, that there's something wrong with you, that you're not good enough. Or maybe the opposite. Maybe there's one here that says, yeah, I know it all already. I've heard it all before. Or maybe there's the spiritual seeker identity that hears all the words and tries really hard to do it. That is storing all the concepts and holding on to them to be someone who is perfectly non-dual or spiritual, or at least is trying to be. You may relate to some of these identities, but you may notice that there are others that come in. They come in and they go out, and each one has its flavor. Each one has its story. And sometimes it's not even a very obvious conscious story. Sometimes it's just a kind of subtle, or maybe not so subtle, position that this body puts itself into, or an energetic kind of closing or contraction, as there's a kind of fitting into a small me. And when we notice that, and when we are believing in that and taking it very seriously to really be me, then we feel separate. Then we feel located and limited to this reference point of me in here, stuck, separate from the rest of life. But what I'm inviting you to notice is that these identities or roles, they come and they go, and they come and they go in the absolute, in emptiness. No one. So no one is playing at being someone. And in seeing that, these identities and roles are welcome to come and go. We notice them when they come. There's no problem. They don't disturb anyone because there's no one here. And yet, these identities come in with their flavors, with their contractions, with their expansions, or whatever is there. And they're just like weather, right? They're just passing through without any meaning. They don't mean anything about me because there's no one here. So this is the paradox of no one playing at someone. And this someone is changing and changing and changing moment to moment. And even when there isn't the identity that is here, there's still flavors or energy movements, a dance of sensations being felt that is changing and changing. And sometimes it takes a certain shape, or sometimes there is a response or a reaction to a circumstance or a person or a situation. And we just notice that and we stay curious about that. There's nothing wrong, nothing needs to be fixed. But at the same time, we stay curious. And as that no one, as that nothing that is simply seeing, that it is always aware and unconditionally accepting of whatever comes up here. So from there is a natural curiosity. And as these different identities come up, there is naturally the light of truth that shines on these identities. So we get to explore them without the intention to try to get rid of them, without the intention to fix anything or to give them any meaning, because they're so welcome in who we are, truly. But at the same time, we look at them with curiosity and go, oh, that's funny. I'm doing this really tight and making myself really small. Okay, that's welcome to be here. But at the same time, it hurts. It's painful to be like that. But let's have a look at how does that feel in my body? And let's look at the story. It's kind of interesting that I'm telling myself this story when truly I know myself to be unlimited. There's no need to try to force that story to go away or to change the story from a limited story or contracted one to an expansive, unlimited story. That's just simply the spiritual identity trying to be a perfectly spiritual identity. But actually, this that you are is already absolutely unlimited. It doesn't need the spiritual identity to try to become that. We simply look at these small me's, and because they're so welcome to be here forever, actually, just the way they are in that you are, in that no one, that unconditional acceptance holds them. It's like a big parent figure holding the child, because they are little children, essentially. They come from our childhood mostly. And so in that unconditional loving of the parent to the child, this little child can, in its own time, in its own way, unravel and relax in its own way. No forcing, no pushing, no effort needed. Just this natural curiosity and absolute welcome and acceptance. It can be here forever like this. It doesn't ever have to open. And at the same time, as we stay like this and we feel the pain of that, And we stay curious and we're willing and courageous enough to feel the pain and to feel the heartbreak or the fear of letting go of this, because it can feel really scary to let go of one of these old me stories, these old identities that have seemingly kept us safe. To let go of that can feel like, ooh, I might go fall into the unknown, and that could be really scary. So it can feel like a big risk, like we almost like we risk death to let go of some of these small me's. So there's no need to force it. That can even be re-traumatizing sometimes. So we stay with this one and invite it to just be here, just the way it is. And in that, you may notice that in its own way, it starts to relax into this absolute welcome. It's like, thank you for just meeting me just as I am. I don't need to become more spiritual. I don't need to become expansive. I don't need to be anything other than what I am. That in itself is such a relaxation for these little children. Because so often we're forcing, we're trying, we're wanting, we're hoping that these contractions become expansions, that we are actually making them wrong. We're making them bad. We're excluding parts of ourselves, and we're saying that's not okay. That's not welcome. That identity is, it's not spiritual enough, or that feeling is not spiritual enough. But it's all spiritual. It's all welcome, because it's all happening in you. No one, nothing. And that's who you really are, which is essentially unconditional love, unconditional acceptance of whatever or whoever is here. Whichever person or however many people are here, they're all so welcome. It's like a big playground of so many little children, and each one has something to say and something to express and feel, and they're all welcome in you. Hmm. So, just before we end, I'd love to hear from you how you are now at the end of this half an hour we've spent together. If you have anything else you want to type in the chat, something else that's passing through now, one of those identities perhaps. Perhaps you recognize one of those identities, or perhaps you have some of those favorites that I mentioned. Maybe you want to type one or two of those favorites out that you recognize. Or not. I know, no one typing. You're welcome to also not type. Okay, well, come to the end of our time, and I just want to thank you all for being here and sending you lots of love. See you next time. The next, we do have someone who's typed something. Dennis, still feeling good. It can be fun and very therapeutic to just notice all our identity shifts throughout the day. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's shifting and shifting. Oh, here's someone else. Will, brilliant. What others call self, you call not self. Interesting. Yeah, well, we can go both ways. Yeah. Yeah, the self is no self. All right then. So the next week, same time, same place. The theme is freedom. Freedom is who you are, which is also the theme of my upcoming retreat in the Netherlands in August. It's 5 days exploring that theme and so much more. And yeah, you're very welcome to come to the Netherlands if you want, or you can also join online. But of course, it's always better in person. I'd love to meet you all in person. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. See you next time. Lots of love.